Hi, I'm Kim Cook with Bread of Life Mission, and we are back with Conversations on a Bench. I've been on this bench most of the last, I don't know, since 1 o'clock yesterday. You do the math because I'm past math right now. I tried to nap on the bench last night. I closed my eyes. I didn't really get any sleep. So forgive me if I'm just not quite picking up everything that everybody else is putting down. But anyway, thank you for watching. We've had some great conversations. This hour is actually sponsored by Discovery Institute. And so you'll see their banner, and I just so appreciate them as a sponsor. And my guest on the bench right now is Caitlyn McKenney. And I'm not sure, what is your title? You work with Discovery Institute?
I am a research fellow at the Center on Wealth and Poverty, which is part of Discovery Institute.
That's a really cool title.
It is.
Like, I'm a fellow. That sounds really smart. Especially because I hate to do research. I love research, but I don't want to do it. So kudos to you.
That's what we're here for.
Yes, I love that. So, Caitlyn, thanks for joining me today. And you guys have been great partners for us and just friends as I've gotten to know people in Seattle. And you're really in this world where, fixhomelessness.org is a part of what you do. Do you want to explain more about Discovery Institute for those who don't know?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, I'm with the Center on Wealth and Poverty, and then a subset of that is our Fix Homelessness initiative, really trying to shape the narrative on homelessness, addiction, untreated mental illness, relationships, and at both a national policy level, where we've seen some policies that have not helped us, and then at a local level here in Seattle, trying to approach this crisis informed by data and the reality that we're seeing around us.
Yeah, that's great. Your boss, Steve Bury, was here yesterday, and I actually first met him in Washington, D.C. at a conference where he was a speaker. And I went up to him afterward and went, I'm in Seattle too, I need to get to know you guys. And so I appreciate that he reached out and that we're getting to know one another. So
yes, and I will just say we're so grateful for you and for the work that you're leading here in Pioneer Square, just a few blocks away from us. You're doing great work and changing and transforming lives, and we need that.
Thank you. Well, boy, there's so much we could talk about today. I talked to Steve about the numbers in your report that came out last fall. And Robert Marbut presented them to a group of us that are in this sector, and they were just astounding numbers to me. So those who didn't see that interview, I'd like to reiterate those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to kind of
I'm guessing you're referring to, and I think you mentioned this earlier when Steve was on, maybe the most shocking statistic was the fact that nationwide homelessness is increasing at a rate that if it continues, it will double. The number of people experiencing homelessness will double in the next 5 to 6 years, which is shocking on its own. And we're at the highest number we've ever been at. And in Seattle, we are increasing at a rate, if we our population will double in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's so unsheltered homelessness here. It's almost 10,000 people outside every night. And we're on track to double to 20,000 in just 2 to 3 years.
And, we're in crisis now.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine if it's double that.
Yeah.
We're not ready. We can't let that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize that, and correct me if I'm wrong because I am not the data person, but some things just stand out to me. We are number 3 in the nation for cities with homeless issues. LA, San Francisco, and Seattle.
Yes, according to the HUD report for 2024, so the national statistics that just came out at the end of December, they broke it down by state, and Washington State is the 3rd largest population experiencing homelessness. That's driven by Seattle. And we're following just California, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York.
And our population in Seattle, we're not a huge city. It feels like it, but we're not.
Compared to New York
to
and LA.
and San
Yeah.
Francisco. So if you went per capita, we would be number one probably.
Yeah,
Good
I think
chance.
that data is out there, and I don't know it off the
I
top of my
remember
head.
hearing it. I don't have the, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. but
Whatever it
It
is,
was shocking to me
it's
when
the
I heard
worst
that.
of the worst
Yeah,
here.
right. And if we find something that works here, it'll work anywhere.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really think, yeah. So, what is Discovery Institute really trying to? You're trying to affect change in the policies. What do you want to see happen?
Yeah. Well, we think the most impactful policy at a national level and local level that's been really harmful, I think, is the Housing First policy. It became official nationwide in 2013, and it basically says you can't require, no funding can be provided to programs that require treatment, job training, that you join a
Right.
program, that you get a caseworker, that you get mentoring. And so they can't receive federal funding. And in addition, the emphasis was put on permanent supportive housing, fully subsidized, taxpayer paid private housing units for people experiencing homelessness, to put them alone, isolated in an apartment building indefinitely, no requirements that they get any services.
Right.
And so probably another shocking statistic from Seattle is looking at the change in bed types over time. So the continuum of care is what they call it. And the idea is that you have emergency shelter beds, and then people move into transitional housing beds, and then they move into permanent housing
Right.
units. And back 2 decades ago, those used to be funded in equal amounts. And so it's pretty much one-third, emergency, transitional to permanent supportive housing. And in the last 2 decades, we've seen that completely shift.
Yeah.
Nationally, but especially in Seattle, where transitional housing is almost at zero, permanent supportive housing has skyrocketed, and we're paying hundreds of millions of dollars to fund it. And emergency shelter is about half of the units of permanent supportive housing that we have. And you said earlier, this is an emergency, it's a crisis, and we are certainly, the data shows that we have not treated it as such.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. We say it's a crisis, but we're not doing what we would do for a true crisis.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think needs to change besides, so housing first, we really need to change that. And I want to go back to what you said, like an organization that says you have to have those wraparound services, any accountability, there's no funding for them at all. But then even the ones that can get funding that don't make it mandatory, the funding is for the beds, but it's not for the wraparound services.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
So even if it's not, like somebody could say, well, I really want to have wraparound services, but they're going to have to go find funding for that somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's not happening
Yeah.
nearly as much as it should.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. And the idea was, the idea I think makes sense, and it was well intentioned. It was stabilize people, get them indoors, get them comfortable, and then they will be in a position to choose for themselves, to seek out treatment and help. But we know that part of the reality that we all know about substance abuse disorders and about severe mental illness is that you're not in a position to seek out help for yourself necessarily, many of the times.
Right. And we're also seeing that people in some of those housing situations, some people are trying to stay clean and sober, but many of the
Next
others
door.
aren't, and they just get
Yeah.
drawn into it or used. Some of the people are really not able to fend for themselves in that system, and we're seeing people that are kind of being taken advantage of.
Yeah,
and
I mean-
I've heard all kinds of horror stories about it.
I'm sure. The city of Seattle themselves, they did an audit and found that overdose deaths within their own permanent supportive housing. Buildings increased almost 300% in the last
Wow.
3 years. It's tragic,
Yeah.
and something needs to change. And I do think that the conversation is shifting, and we've seen a couple media pieces just in the last few weeks in Seattle where voices that typically were insistent that this was the only way to go are starting to say, you know, maybe looking back over the last 2 decades,
Right.
something's not working.
It's
And
hard-
maybe we need to invest in emergency shelter and in treatment.
Right. It's really hard to argue with the numbers.
Yeah.
It's been done for many years, but I
Decades.
think that they've been so bad the last 2 years that it's like you've got to look at this and we have to come to some reality
Yeah.
here.
And I think the reality of fentanyl entering the scene
Yes.
a few 5 years ago really changed things as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Between that and COVID, just
Yeah.
it's just pushed us so far down that road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the HUD's numbers just came out. Was it last week?
Yeah. End of December.
Okay.
And we hit, in 2024, nationwide, we hit a new record high number of people experiencing homelessness, which is tragic.
Hey, Matt, do we have a slide for the HUD numbers?
I can look, but I don't know.
Okay. If you see it, bring it up.
So it's 770,000 people across the nation. About 300,000, of those are unsheltered. And these aren't just numbers. I think sometimes we can get caught up in the data and the trends, which are shocking. And it is a record, and it's the highest increase on record. And it's also people outside on the streets every night in the cold, or in encampments, or in shelter. And so human lives, not just numbers.
Yeah, data is great, but you cannot depersonalize it. You
Yeah.
have to have stories and faces with it. And,
Yeah.
the people that we're seeing all the time are real people, and they're being affected by this, and they need help. They need help. And so all this government money is going toward, it's like throwing good money after bad.
Mhm.
And we've got to do something.
Yeah.
And I think people are getting really sick and tired of seeing their tax money going to a problem that's getting worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, HUD, part of that report, they spent $3 billion, just a small fraction of their spending on programs last year. And I think I would just emphasize one of the most helpful charts in this HUD national report. You can Google it, the 2024 point in time count report it goes back to what I was saying earlier in Seattle, but it shows it at a national level, which is that 2 decades ago, we had equal numbers. We had a balance between emergency, transitional, and permanent housing, the full continuum of care, this pathway out of homelessness and into self-sustaining, sufficient living. And there's a chart in there that shows that how drastically that balance has been shifted. And I mean, it's a shocking graph. It's like they start here and they end up like opposite ends of the page.
There's one that's like an X.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one that, and so homelessness numbers were going down. And how long has Housing First been in? Just 20 years?
Their data looks like it goes back to 2007.
Okay. So it was going down, and then the Obama administration.
2013 was the official Housing First mandate.
And so they said, we're going to end homelessness in like
10 years.
Yes, 10 years. And there were like 3 different levels. I remember I was looking at the data the other day. And family homelessness, veteran.
Chronic, family, veteran, and then
those.
chronic, I think.
They had years attached to them. And they were going to end it. And at the same time that Housing First started, homelessness shifted going up.
Yeah.
And our spending has also gone up.
Yes.
So we're spending more, and we're getting more for it, but we're getting more homelessness.
Yeah, I mean, every way you look at it, it's an steep increase in spending, steep increase in housing, steep increase in sheltered and unsheltered homelessness, which just, it's hard to look at those numbers and deny the reality that housing and funding are not the solutions to this
Right.
problem, not the main ones.
Right. So, I could correlate that with health in America. We're spending a lot of money on health, but we're not a healthy nation. So
That's a great point.
We have to do something different.
Yeah.
And so it's okay for us. It's all well and good for us to say we need to get rid of housing first. What's the solution?
Yeah. Well, it's emergency. It's rebalancing that continuum of care. So, not going all in on permanent supportive housing, bringing back emergency shelters, especially here in Seattle. That's something that's dropped very low.
Do you have any idea how many beds we need? Like if we were just going to stand up all the beds we need right now.
Well, I will say that in our plan, we suggest opening large shelters, emergency shelters, to bring in at least 25% of the unsheltered population. So it's like 2,500 beds, and in large enough facilities that you keep your costs low, and it's a place to bring people in off of the street, a large enough group of the population, and then get them immediately connected with robust case management and services.
Well, and I was saying this last night. We have to triage, right? Like it's a crisis, and we have to get everybody in, and then figure out who needs, a high degree of services. Who can we help quickly? Who can we help to reunite with their families?
Yeah.
If that's the right answer for them.
Yeah.
If they have a healthy family, there's just we have to do that quickly on a large scale.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and a big component of the triage question is, I think, what you just mentioned, and something that we found when we did a study of clients and programs is that 49.7% of people experiencing homelessness here first began experiencing homelessness outside of King County. And we show a map in our report, and it's people are coming from across the nation, even across the world. And all of our best clinical data says that people have the best chance at recovery when they are in a support network with family, with their partner, with friends and relatives. And so if we're seeing such a large number of people who just arrived here and they're living on the streets, and they have family or relatives or friends in a different city, how can we help them have the best chance at recovery by reconnecting them with services where it's going to be most impactful?
Right.
That's part of the triage.
Exactly.
Question.
It's not sending them back to their family. It's sending them somewhere near their family.
Yes,
And
correct.
it's not sending them back to a family that's dysfunctional and traumatizing.
Yes.
It's a healthy connection.
Yes, not in cases of domestic violence, but in a lot of these cases, and I'm sure that you see this with your clients, and I know Jonathan was talking about this, Steve was talking about this, the broken relationships and the healing that can actually happen in a dysfunctional family or where a relationship has gone wrong, that might be part of the deeper issue driving this.
I had a guy on the bench last night who talked about his sobriety really came from, his mom. His parents found him and got him into treatment and, saved his life.
Wow.
And his mom didn't know where he was and found him because his brother was dying.
Wow.
And they were together. And so, yeah, it was just like, he said that is so important. Yeah.
That's the real human picture of what's happening.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I see down here that I never thought I'd see in an
Yeah.
American city,
Yeah,
and it's really sad.
it's really sad. And it's really about human dignity. And I
Right.
think that's where a lot of this, we all agree that humans are inherently have value and worth and dignity, and we disagree on what it looks like to
Yeah.
see that in someone. And sometimes we overemphasize someone's autonomy and their own
Right.
choices and life decisions. And I think that's a more difficult question.
It really is. It really is. And I think the answer is somewhere in the muddy middle.
Mm.
And if we can't sit down and talk like we've been doing this last 24 hours, we're never going to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to come to the middle. And I think really figuring out where we agree. Where do we
Yeah.
have common ground,
Yeah.
right? And then maybe once we're in relationship, we can talk about what we disagree with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that really means probably that we're all doing something a little different, and it's going to hit different people. You know, not hit them, but it's going to help different people.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
know,
And I appreciate that you've had just a wide array of voices on in the last 24 hours,
Yeah.
because that is so important. And I think we do all agree in the value of humans and their worth and their dignity, and
Yeah.
we want to see them healthy and flourishing and safe.
Mhm.
And maybe the solutions might look different, but I do
Yeah.
think in Seattle, I think everyone does genuinely want
Yeah.
that.
I think it's a really comfortable lie to vilify the other side and to think that they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear it on both sides of the political spectrum.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, what it takes is sitting down with somebody that disagrees with you and maybe just having dinner with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't talk about, you know, it's not like the Thanksgiving table where you talk about politics and everybody leaves mad. You know, like sit down and just talk and figure out what that person really cares about.
Do you feel like, Kim, you've been able to have those conversations since being here in Seattle?
I think so.
People are
More
open.
in this last 24 hours. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's what I stated right off the bat.
Yeah.
We have to have respectful dialogue and agree to disagree sometimes. So yeah, we've had that. Unfortunately, sometimes I've been tired enough that I don't think I've had that great conversation to, you know, have both sides of that. But yeah, I think it's been good to have some of those conversations and just go, you know what? We are going to agree to disagree, and we're still friends.
Yeah.
And boy, if we
Yeah.
could do that everywhere, like, what a different world it would be, right?
Mm. What would you say is the greatest need from, how long have you been in this
Year and a
position?
half.
A year and a half. I know it was short.
In December, so yeah.
Okay. What from your time here and the work that you've done with the clients at Bread of Life, what would you say is the biggest need, if there was kind of a hole or a gap in the local services or support? What would you say that is?
You know, somewhere I saw on, like, Citygate Network says that there's 4 different levels of, like, there's disaster relief, and I can't remember what the next one is, and then community development and life transformation. It's kind of, you know, those are the different ways we all respond to disaster or whatever. And I think I'm not seeing enough of the first and last. You know,
The disaster
right,
relief and the
right. Like, we need emergency shelter now.
yeah.
Right, that's 2,500
Yes.
beds.
Yeah.
That's disaster relief.
Yeah.
This is a disaster. We need to do something and do it now. On the other hand, we also have to believe in life transformation and have more of this wraparound services, treating the whole person and helping people believe in themselves and giving them hope and walking alongside them,
Yeah.
which takes a lot of staff time, a lot of money. not compared to the to the housing
Yeah.
that we've got that
Yeah.
we're spending so much money on, but a lot for a nonprofit.
Yeah. Well, it's much more intensely focused, right?
Right.
Whereas the big housing building, you put people in there and you leave them
Yeah.
alone. Whereas
Because
this
they're
is this,
Done.
right? And
Right.
you're talking about something totally different, which is the whole community surrounding someone, having hope for them when they can't have hope for themselves,
It's
and walking alongside
yeah.
them maybe for a long season of life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard work, but it's so worth it. And we actually see change.
Hmm.
So I'm seeing the both ends are being neglected.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I totally agree.
Yeah.
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 One of the other interesting statistics to come out of the HUD report is looking at the people experiencing unsheltered homelessness
Right.
in Washington compared to, say, New York, which has a much larger population experiencing homelessness. But here, I think half, I want to say 57%, but I'd have to check, of our homeless population is experiencing unsheltered homelessness. And in New York, it's, a much smaller. They've really focused on shelter.
Right.
And I think that was a huge wake-up call for a lot of people in Seattle is, oh my goodness, we have so many people in Seattle, 10,000 people outside every night or in encampments.
Well, and if it was 30 below here, maybe people would see it differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's still cold.
It's
I
still,
was out here last night. It was cold, and I had all the good stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I have Eddie Bauer. I had 2 Eddie Bauer jackets on. Right now, I have a heated vest.
Oh,
Right?
that's nice.
These folks don't have
No.
that. They're
No.
lucky if they have a blanket. I saw a guy yesterday with no shoes or socks and no coat.
Yeah, I was just
cold.
speaking to a woman before I came on here, right here. And I
Yes.
said, she said, I'm homeless. And I said, where are you staying right now, or are you staying outside? And she said, I'm staying outside.
Let's talk about homeless women. What are the numbers on that? Do you know?
Yeah, I just looked, and in King County, about 5,000 women are experiencing homelessness compared to 11,000 men. So it's about 30%, over
Wow.
30%,
Okay.
almost
yeah.
30%.
Yeah. So 30. I know that Robert.
Do you have a
had
different
said
number?
39.
39. That might be national.
So, yeah, and it might have been an older number
Yeah.
compared to the new, but either way, that's a lot, and that's a huge change, isn't it?
I was gonna say, I've heard people say that is a drastic change, that it didn't used to
Right.
look like that.
Yeah, it used to be like an older man. Like what
Mhm.
you think of when you think of a
Mhm.
homeless person is no longer what it used to, what you used to think.
Hmm.
It's all ages. It's older women quite often quite often with mental illness.
Mm.
I'm seeing a lot of women. They're young men. So it's not just one type of person anymore.
Yeah.
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 What are the services or what do we have in Seattle for women?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, to me, that seems like a big gap
Yeah.
in our services. Is I don't think that we have a place, certainly not just an emergency shelter space dedicated to women that I'm aware of in Seattle.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
so-
aware either.
That sits heavy.
Like right
on my heart.
downtown or
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Union Gospel Mission has an excellent women's program in South Seattle, and I know there are
There's
people
Mary's
doing
Place, but
yes,
that's not emergency.
yeah,
right?
people are doing more transitional, which I think in the past has been what's needed mostly,
Right.
but I think we're seeing that change.
Yeah. Yeah, that like I said, when I came here, I told the board I really don't want to work with women because they come with a lot of baggage. There's a lot more to working with women than men.
Are you talking about kind of just traumas or?
Children, exes, all of it. So but I got here and I started seeing women on the sidewalks in the morning. And it just breaks my heart to see them and to realize how traumatized they must be. They have to be, mistreated out there. There's probably trafficking. There's just so much. And we really have to do something. It's not hidden. And so I think when we see it, we're responsible to do something. Yeah.
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 It's heavy.
Yeah, it is. Well, Caitlyn, is there anything else you want to talk about? We've got about 1 minute.
No, it's been a great conversation.
Yeah,
Again, so grateful for the work that you guys are doing. I think you're about to have a voice from the King County Diversion
Yes.
Court, which I think they're
Looking
doing
forward to that.
excellent work and understanding that idea of accountability and compassion and recovery. And so I'm excited to
To
listening.
see the other side of life transformation.
Yeah.
Right, like what's possible.
Yes.
And we saw some of that last night, and it was really exciting to see. Yeah. I love when I'm
Fantastic.
talking to somebody and they say that they were, an addict for 30 years and living on the streets, and I look at them and go, really? Like, that just, it thrills me to see.
That's hope,
that,
being able to see the other side
Yeah.
and the human potential living to its
Yeah.
fullest. How it's
We
created.
have so much potential. You know what? I was saying yesterday, well, I've told the guys this. We've lost a generation, right? You said that. I believe that we've lost so much more as a society because, maybe the person that would have cured cancer is an addict on fentanyl. Or you don't know. What would they have contributed to our society if they had been able to get a college education or, be working and all of that stuff? Like, I just think, what have we lost?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the value of the human person and the minds and the creativity and the intellect and all of this opportunity that we see masked and marred deep under this brokenness.
And when I told the guys that, they all kind of sat up a little straighter. Went, really? Yeah, it could have been one of you. You just don't know.
Yeah.
So, there's so much potential there, and we need to believe in that for them until they can believe it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a sponsor. I really appreciate it. And it was great talking to Steve and Jonathan and so on. So looking forward
Thank
to
you, Kim.
partnering more.
Thank you, Kim.